I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Andy Nelson.
Welcome to the next reel. When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
El Aura is over. You're really gonna kill a deer? You gotta have a lot of balls to do that, you know? A lot of balls, Andy.
A lot of balls.
It's a deer-killing movie. A deer-killing epilepsy movie. I'm made sad by this movie. Not because of the subject matter, but because of its director, who deserved to make more films.
Second movie. So Fabián Bielinsky, this is our Ricardo Darín series. Fabián Bielinsky made his first movie with Ricardo Darín, which was in our first Ricardo Darín series. That's Nine Queens. Fantastic movie.
Fantastic.
Great, caper with twists and turns, really interesting story. And this was his second film and second collaboration with Ricardo Darín. And then sadly, while he was on tour, after the film had been, it was like doing a festival run and stuff, he had a heart attack and died. Very, very sad.
Unbelievable. And
he was
this
young.
Was supposed to be he was like 47, something like that.
Yeah, 47
We've
years old.
already passed him.
Yeah.
Clock is ticking, man, any day.
You put it like that. Wow.
Yeah, no, I don't love it. I don't love being that guy. But the fact that this was the second of a proposed sort of spiritual trilogy that he was making, I feel like, it's a whole, because this is a terrific movie. It is a terrific movie. It was new to me. I don't believe it was new to you because Ricardo Darín is your spirit animal.
Yeah.
And you've seen everything multiple times.
My wife keeps telling me when I talk about Ricardo Darín, she's like, I know you always say that Tom Hanks is your favorite actor, but I really think it's Ricardo Darín.
It might be Ricardo Darín.
And I'm like, I don't think so, but he certainly is close. It might be different if I had grown up with Ricardo Darín and had like all of those childhood attachments that I have.
Yeah. I mean,
Hanks.
What do you think? What would you say if I told you that Ricardo Darín and Tom Hanks were best friends? Would that hurt you? Or would you love it?
No, that would make the world a better place. I would feel like maybe things are going right in the world after all. There is hope.
Okay, good. All right, so tell me about this movie. You picked it, or did I pick it?
No,
I can't remember.
So you picked this. You picked this.
I know.
One.
I remember what happened because I screwed up my list, and I had picked something that was foul, and I had to go back to Ricardo Darín, and I picked this one because I hadn't seen it. I'm really glad I picked it. I'm really smart.
You were very excited about this one. This sounded like one that you had actually stewed on. It didn't sound like this was one that you came upon because of a foul. Like you had read about this. You're like, hold on, Ricardo Darín, heist movie, and he's epileptic. Like you were fascinated by this.
Those are the three things I look for in every movie. I can't believe this one has it all.
This is the one where those three paths crossed.
Well, it was because it was new to me, and I have to tell you, and I'm going to say that I loved the movie. I feel like the write-up maybe oversells the heist parts because this movie it's about a guy who fancies himself a real heisty kind of guy. He's got all of the tools that you would think he needs to do it. And he's got photographic memory, he's named for detail, but then there's a lot of criminal shenanigans in the woods. It's really what this is about. Criminal shenanigans. There is, if you're looking for a straight up like heisty heist, things fall apart in this movie. Like there's no successful, like everybody's happy at the end because Robin Hood's come along and stolen from the rich and given to the poor, and Ocean's 11 didn't make it out and are now living their best life in Vegas. Like this movie it's not that kind of heist movie.
No, this is really about the mood and kind of the vibe that we have. We're following a guy who is, he's kind of a lonely character. We meet Ricardo Darín's character, Esteban, who he works alone. He's a taxidermist, and he from the beginning. I mean, the beginning of the film, he wakes up having just had an epileptic seizure. He's on the floor of the bank at the ATM, and late at night, and he kind of gets up, gets his stuff out of the ATM, and leaves. And that's kind of our introduction to him. So we get a sense that, okay, this guy has some issues that he's living with. And then we see him work as a taxidermist. He's alone. He's listening to music. Somebody who he works with, presumably, comes to the door and is knocking. And his response is to just turn the music up and ignore them.
Yeah.
So you get a sense, okay, he's kind of somebody who's not that interested in like developing relationships and everything. And we see him, we follow him after he finishes the taxidermy work on this fox. He goes to the museum where it's going to be part of the display, and he's talking to another taxidermist friend. But even that relationship feels like, I mean, they are apparently friends outside of work, as we see this guy invites him to come on this trip. But really, it's only because another guy had to bail. And he's like, I have this extra ticket. I know you aren't into hunting, but hey, if you want to come. And then when they're together, it's like, they seem abrasive, like their personalities.
They don't like each other.
Yeah, they're kind of butting heads, and it's like, okay, this is an interesting relationship, and that's kind of what we get this sense of this character who, yes, he's got this photographic memory, yes, he suffers from these seizures, but he also approaches relationships in a way where sometimes he says the things that you don't say. Like he's talking to his friend and he mentions like, well, you're the guy who did this to your wife or whatever. He says something pretty rude and not a kind thing to say.
Well, that was it. It was the line that I picked was, it takes a lot of balls to do that. What kind of balls? The kind of balls it takes to get drunk and beat the crap out of your wife.
Yeah.
And ruin your marriage. Right. Like that's the exchange these friends had in the woods.
Yeah. Right.
While carrying guns.
Yeah. And then his friend's like, hey, you seem like you're fine. Good luck. I'm going that way. You stay here. And like, that's what we get. So yeah, it's an abrasive character, but he is compelling. And with Ricardo Darín playing him, of course, you want to watch him, but you do feel that there are elements to his character that pull you in. Yes, he has this, I don't know, ability, this knack at being able to, like, as they're standing in line at the bank to deposit their checks after being at the museum, he's like, look how easy it would be to rob this place. And he walks through a whole heist scenario that, as far as we know, theoretically could be pulled off. But he's just not the type who's ever going to do it. But he thinks that way. And that's fascinating. So there's an interesting character component that we have.
Well, and then I just want to point out, though, that sequence before we lose it, that the way that was shot was beautiful, right? The fact that as soon as he starts fantasizing, the people around him come to life at like a flash mob, and his fantasy directs what they're doing, and they are robbing the bank. And when he comes out of it, out of his reverie, everybody's standing back in line. But the transition into his dream state where he walks through this is awesome. And I think it leads to some question about, is everything he's experiencing real or fantastical? It happens again later. And I like the sort of the dance with unreliability that we have there. So I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, absolutely. It's a very creative way to shoot that. And I think that's the sort of thing that Bielinsky was really bringing to this, that I think found it to be, well, to your point, you had mentioned that Bielinsky had talked about this being part of this planned spiritual trilogy or conceptual trilogy, as he called it, with Nine Queens, focusing on a mise-en-scène style of production. This one focusing very much on point of view, and we're really with Esteban the entire film. Like in his mind, we're seeing things the way he's seeing. We're experiencing these seizures and kind of the aura, as he describes it, as he is. And so I think that is a really interesting element that he focused on intently here. Like, how can I show this? How can I best show this point of view of Esteban here? Let's just actually have it play out like it is in his mind. I think that was fantastic.
Yeah, it's really perfect and such a wonderful performance, a wonderful opportunity for Darin to showcase his, like, he really kind of corners the market in Argentinian brooding for a middle-aged man. And this movie is a real show horse for that
Yeah.
style. The caper kind of starts. We already know he has the ability to do what he needs to do to fantasize about being this criminal mastermind. But the caper really starts when he goes hunting and accidentally shoots someone.
Yeah.
And I thought he shot his buddy at first, right? I think the movie wants you to think that because they had intentionally separated. You know, when he said, "I'm going that way, I don't like you," and they end up kind of they're in the same wood. We've already been set up to believe that nobody goes here, right? They set up the whole premise was we're going to a place to hunt where no one else goes.
Yeah, right.
And so
right.
why would we believe that there was anybody else in these woods hunting besides these two guys? So I was shocked when he shot a person, the person falls, and it turns out it's not his buddy. Now we have
Dietrich.
Yeah, we have a caper afoot.
Yeah, that is an interesting element because Dietrich is we do know he's out. He could be in these woods, but he also might be somewhere else because he's
Right.
been gone a while. And that's kind of the mystery of this character that we learn from his wife, Diana, played by Dolores Fonzi, who is great in this film as kind of the young wife whose brother Julio is also here and kind of an ass to our guys when they show up. So we got an interesting setup and the dynamic of this particular camp area where they happen to be. And then, as you said, he accidentally kills Dietrich as he's trying to legitimately now hunt. Now, he had also, we hadn't mentioned, but he had just had another seizure, right? He had a seizure in the forest. He falls over. When he finally comes to and sits up, the deer is still there. So he's kind of like moving he's looking around. He hears it, but he can't quite see it. And he's spinning around. And so when he spins and shoots, he legitimately thinks that it's the deer because it's the only thing that he thinks is out here. As you said, it does kind of set it up where it's probably his friend, who it isn't. It ends up being this person, and that sets up our story, as you're saying, because in the scope of the caper, as we learn, as he learns, because he goes into this cabin, this little cabin outside of which Dietrich was standing. He kills Dietrich. He goes into his cabin and he sees it's full of all of this stuff, hinting at some sort of, we don't know yet. He doesn't know yet, but it's a lot of odd information, and that he starts piecing together is all part of this heist that Dietrich is a key part of as far as putting this plan together to rob this local mountain casino.
And the shorthand of the movie is that our protagonist here can sponge all of this information into his head. He can remember everything that he sees, almost everything that he sees, but everything that he sees for all of our purposes right now, he is taking this information in. He's equipping himself. I like this angle on this character. I like the way Darín plays it. I like the way it's shot. It is the perfect sort of, criminal lair, follow the yarns across the room kind of a thing. And I just think it plays very nicely. It reminds me a lot of, the greats of Seven, of, Usual Suspects. Like anytime you're zooming in on corkboards and papers, it looks really cool. And now he is ostensibly, incidentally going to take the place of Dietrich in this caper. and now we introduce our criminals.
Yeah, we have, well, let's also not forget in the cabin, there is the hidden gun that is, very much kind of like the gun on the mantelpiece
Yeah.
sort of situation, like hiding behind a pair of antlers that he finds. And so could that gun come in handy? I guess we'll find out. Yeah, but so we have these other two people that show up that definitely don't seem like they're here to hunt, right? Like they
Right.
just like one of them, Montero, looks old and kind of sickly. Like every time he's walking around, he's like panting and he's just like, what the hell? How many steps did we just have to walk? Like he's always calculating, like, how far did I just go?
Yeah.
Which is a great little character moment. And Sosa, and they they're looking for Dietrich, but he's not around, and they're kind of pissed. But because Esteban, ends up taking Dietrich's cell phone with him, they connect him to Dietrich, and so he plays this whole thing, and that's where, and this is where it's fascinating, where as he's having conversation, like a conversation with this person, and he also has listened to some messages on Dietrich's phone from Vega about this factory robbery, and I guess we should also mention that like he had followed, like after he finds out about this, he goes to see what like this factory at this time, and he goes there and he sees this robbery take place, is totally botched. He follows the guy who's Vega as he's shot and bleeding and dying. He follows him all the way, I don't know, across town until he's like dying by some wall. And then once the guy dies, he takes the key off of his neck because apparently Dietrich, in all of this stuff, there was something about Vega and this key. And so he takes the key, and all of this stuff, as he's talking to Sosa and Montero, it's like a pinball game in a conversation where as they're talking, he's picturing the room and the ball is bouncing around and it's hitting all the right things that they're mentioning. And he's like, oh yeah, robbery. Oh yeah, casino. Bing. And it's just like all the little lights keep going off in his head as he's able to actually have this conversation with him. It's fascinating the way that played.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Now, the whole time we should say, the whole time what we're looking at is essentially a green pass. Like this whole thing is green. It is like they've taken the woods and they have taken that green light that when you're in it feels so good. Like it's just the light through the trees and it's awesome and embraces you, and they've made it somehow disgusting. Like in a good way. Like it fits the vibe, but the color pass, the visual tone is so desaturated and drab. And whether we're inside the cabin or inside his room or inside the film opens in the ATM vestibule that is just totally white light, but it's green white light. Like everything looks green. And I like it. It definitely sets a mood. It's a very sort of Fight Club vibe. Like there is such a tone that was so intentionally placed on this movie to, I think, to add to the sort of unsettled nature of his space in the world. And I think that's important because his space in the world is marred by a neurological disorder that causes him to just exist and then suddenly pass out as a result of how light is hitting him, right? Like the way he talks about he can't drive because nobody wants him to drive. He won't give him a license because of flashing, patterns when he drives, and they're afraid he'll have a seizure. The world is sort of out to get him in that regard. And I think just the general look and tone of the film, it does such an effective job at mirroring his depressive state and the vast economic bleakness of Argentina or of Argentina. Argentina. God, I would go there. It's a fantasy location. That it just really, I think, complements the way the film handles, our perception of what is real.
Okay, it's to that end, I'm curious for you the how Bielinsky paired with, Checho Varese is the cinematographer here, how they chose to shoot the actual moments when Esteban is having the seizures, or the moment building up to the seizure, really, which
Yeah.
we have. I mean,
So
we only
cool.
we only have twice in the film.
Yeah.
The first time he's already waking up from it, so it's really in the forest, and then the second time is like in the middle of the heist, right? He finds out some key information that he wasn't aware of. He was trying to get to them to let them know, and that's when he has his seizure. The way that Bielinsky and Varese shot this is they had a circular dolly track around Darin, and on that dolly track, they had another dolly track that would move in and out. And what they would do is they would do the whole trick of like moving the dolly in, or moving the camera in on the dolly while they
Hmm.
were zooming out. So you're getting
Right.
that while it's spinning. And uh, really the best time you get that is in the forest. You kind of get a few shots of that. How does that enhance things for you? Do you like the way that they shot those moments?
Oh yeah, it's deeply unsettling, right? Because the third component is the sort of waving back and forth between symmetry and asymmetry in the frame. Like sometimes we're looking at him straight on, especially when the spins start, and sometimes we're just looking at his ear off to one side of the frame, and the way it keeps moving is very jarring. And I think it is, it's seizure cam, right? I mean, it wants me to share just a little bit of the experience that he is having right now, and I think it's very, very effective, and kind of like it's clever. It's clever. I was watching it thinking, God, this they could have done something crazy with effects, and his face could melt and he could turn into a tree himself, and they could do all kinds of crazy things, but they really just used cleverness with using tricks that we've known for 100 years, and just used the camera to make us feel off, just completely on our heels, and I love it.
Yeah, it's an interesting way of cinematic construction that they've come up with to, again, going to this point of view methodology that he was focusing on with the production of this film, working at finding ways through the camera placement, camera movement, through the cutting from shot to shot, even the sound design, to put us into his headspace, to really give us a sense as to what this might be like to go through this sort of thing, and how disconcerting and frightening it can be. Also, he talks about, like, somebody says, "Do you remember anything?" And he's just like, "I remember every single thing."
Yeah.
And so you also get that sense that this is all his senses being fully lit up, capturing everything that is going on around him in those moments. It's that aura, right, that we're
Uh-huh.
talking about. Like, and that ties into, I suppose, the concept of the film also, which is interesting, because here we have, again, this guy who wants to be or imagines himself in as somebody who can plot and plan and put these amazing heists together where everything goes off without a hitch. He never does, but he that's the sort of mentality he has. And this is that moment that gives him that ability. Like, having these moments where he's kind of connected to all of his senses really makes him, ultra aware of things that are going on, paired with his photographic memory. So it's a fascinating way to show it. And yeah, I find it effective and uh, kind of terrifying
Mhm.
in the reality of the fact that this is not something he has any control over.
Yeah, I think that that metaphor for the loss of control in this movie on all of these layers, right? The layer of his just physiological experience, the layer of his aspiration, as it pairs with his opportunity, it's all out of control. Like, this is a guy who is like, when we meet him, he is at his very best, right? He is a taxidermist, and we have no reason to doubt that he's anything but a good taxidermist. It is when he leaves that mold and tries to do something different that things fall apart. Like, he has he understands what he believes he's capable of, and he demonstrates that he's not capable of it. And that's sad.
Does he though? Like, is that how you see it? Like, he demonstrates he's not capable of it, or?
Yeah, don't you think?
I think he demonstrates that he's capable of putting all the pieces together. I think where he's short-sighted is the reality of the people that he works with. You know, he's a person who trusts his ability to put a puzzle together. And yeah, he misses the one key fact about the fact that Vega is supposed to be the third man on in this armored car. But he's pretty solid at putting everything else together. But he really is terrible at reading these two guys, Sosa and Montero. Julio is also in on it, as we find out, but he's young, and we can understand he's not the sort of person who knows how to read people the right way. And Dietrich was supposed to be there, and with him there, Julio is probably going to be fine. With Esteban running this thing, he has, like, neither he nor Julio have any clear sense as to how to read Sosa or Montero. And that costs Julio his life and nearly costs Esteban his life. And I think that's the biggest problem that he has with this sort of thing. Like, he can imagine the whole heist and everything, but that's like an Ocean's 11 type of heist where everyone's buddy-buddy and they all get along.
Right.
And really, they're there to do a job, and there's no human personality involved at all. It's just, you know, A leads to B, leads to C, leads to D, and they just walk through it. Once you get actual people, especially criminals, involved, it's a very different story. And I think that's where he's short-sighted.
Well, I think you're you're making my point, right? Because the sad
Well,
part
probably.
to me is that, like, he has all of the skills to be able to do this, except for one of the most important ones, as demonstrated by the film, not being able to account for humanity.
Yeah.
And that is a pretty significant shortcoming. And it's also why he's at home as a taxidermist, right? It's not asking him to do anything, you know, that would stress his ability to make trusting relationships with completely untrusting people. And it's kind of central to the job, I think.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So I think to that end, you're absolutely right. And I think he's able to play off of them pretty well. Like, he has all the information, so he can have all the right conversations with both Sosa, with Montero, also with, I can't remember the name of the guy who actually works at the casino. It's Urien. Urien is the one who works at the casino. He's able to have the conversations, but Urien especially is like, you don't seem like you're able to, you know, get all of this put together the way it needs to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's the way the film sort of, you've already mentioned the big conceit that he misses that this was a weekend and they need 3 drivers instead of 2. He thinks he has it completely under control, and he watched the third driver bleed out on the street, following him like a sociopath. And so without Vega, everything falls apart. People start going in different directions, and we get to a shootout. And things go south. He ends up, our final sort of scene of retribution in the woods pits him against the 2 sort of peak villains. We've got a guard locked in the money truck, and they're about to use an acetylene torch to cut through the truck and get it out, and everybody starts killing each other, and we get the final loss of trust. as he realizes he's going to be shot, in addition to the kid getting shot in the head, which was jarring. As they clean up their mess. This ends darkly.
It's very dark, and I suppose that's in the end the lesson that he learns from all this. Like, he's fascinated by the idea of how easy these sorts of things can be to put together, and how you could pull it off with such if the planning is there, it can go off without a hitch and not be very difficult at all.
Right.
Because of these human elements that he's so, I mean, the beginning of the film, he's not talking to his coworker. He comes home and his wife has left him. She's left a card out, a Dear John letter. Right.
Doesn't he get 2 cards?
The second one is to Julio, but it's brilliantly, Bielinsky shoots it, designs the whole scene exactly like when he came home and found that letter from his wife. So that was, I thought, really smartly done. So yeah, he's in this situation where he has to now step up, and this goes back to his conversation that he had with his friend, who's like, "You've never killed anything. You won't be able to kill deer. It takes balls." Now, with Sosa and having shot Julio, Montero and Sosa both shooting at him now, Sosa's run out of bullets, and so he leads him into the cabin to get more bullets. And it's kind of funny. He's just going to go along with it. Okay, yeah, I'll just follow along because you're about to shoot me, and I'll wait for you to load the gun. That was really funny. And of course leads to the gun on the mantelpiece, and that final shootout. But that's, there's an interesting element in there. And again, going back to the POV style of production here, we have Esteban run off into the forest. Sosa chases after him. Montero, we haven't said, he's been shot. He's sitting there bleeding out, so he's slowly dying. And Esteban runs into the forest, Sosa after him, and Sosa has been grazed by a bullet that Esteban had shot at him. He comes to a place where he stops and he sees Sosa like getting more bullets in the gun, right? And we go into his mind as he watches himself go through the act of walking forward, pulling the gun out, and shooting Sosa. And then we come back to reality and we see him go through that. What did you think of that moment where he's like, it kind of fits with the very first,
the bank,
but now he's actually going through with it. How did you read that?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because it kind of makes the argument that we're watching him improve as a criminal mastermind himself, right? That the first time it was a fantasy, this time it's as if his sort of ability to see ahead is giving him practice, right? He's able to actually execute what he sees in his head because he's done his creative visualization. Right? Like this is him visualizing a successful future, and so he goes through that process. The question is, is he really, or is this just a panic state kind of reaction? I don't know how reliable we're supposed to take it.
I kind of saw it as, this is a guy who, in order to, I don't know, because it seems like he's somebody who needs the confidence to actually go through something like this. Like he's struggling, even just the idea of his friend killing a deer. And so I got the sense that he's going to have a really hard time being able to actually kill somebody. And so he puts himself through the act of just walking through it mentally to get through the hard part. And then once he's kind of visualized doing it, then he just kind of follows along and does it. So I felt like it was a way that he was doing it that was making it easier for himself in some way. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just the idea that he has to figure out how to numb out from a thing that makes him very uncomfortable before he does it, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It seems it seems counterintuitive that he's a taxidermist and he doesn't kill things. And now he's being put in this position to have to kill people. And I think that's where we're supposed to feel that uncertainty. And I think that's what it does.
Well, and to that end, and again, this show is designed to talk about movies after we've seen them and hopefully after you've seen them, but we are certainly spoiling this one. After he does all of that, he comes back. By this point, Montero actually has bled out. He's dead.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to try talking to the guard in the back of the armored car and then sees the blood pouring out of the back door and pooling on the ground below it, realizing
bleed out.
That guy's been shot in somewhere and is bled out and is dead. But he doesn't take the money.
Right. Can he?
Well, I mean, I'm sure he could use the torch and cut the truck open and take it.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess that's true.
I read it like he chooses not to, because like his thing wasn't about getting rich. It was about the act. Like that's how I read it. Like I don't know. It seems like by leaving the truck there, it also closes the door on the situation. Assuming one day authorities will actually find the truck and this crime scene out here, they'll realize, okay, here's all the dead bodies. Here's the truck and the dead guard. These are all the people who were involved. Dietrich, as we know, Dietrich's body is somewhere in that proximity, also there. So that's the other guy. So he leaves and doesn't take the money. Once they find all this, case closed, right? They've pretty much closed the investigation. There's not going to be any searching for the mysterious extra person who has all the money. And so I don't know. I guess I think that it's just his way of getting out of a bad situation in a way that he's going to go back to his normal life and just kind of pretend it never happened. But knowing that he kind of, in some capacity, made it through.
Yeah. I can see that. There was a tiny piece of me that sees him staring at that at the truck and thinking, okay, that dead guy had the skills to do this. And there is some layer of emasculation that has him staring at that truck and not knowing the first thing about torches and cutting open armored cars and having him just give up. There was just a little bit. This movie attuned me toward him seeing less of himself, right? Like, I don't know why. That's really, what does that say about me? It's not great.
Oh, too funny. Yeah. Yeah, because we know that Julio is dead, and his sister Diana, she was afraid to leave. They have this whole conversation, and this is where you kind of get the human side of Esteban, because he has this conversation with Diana as he's driving her around and stuff, and finds out how abusive that Dietrich has been. Not only Dietrich, who had been her father's friend, but also, as we find out, her father was also abusive, and she went from an abusive man to an abusive from abusive father to an abusive husband, and tried to leave once, and he found her and brought her back, and it wasn't good. And so she's afraid to leave. And so she's just like, I just can't. I'm done trying to leave. And that's when Esteban says, Dietrich is not coming back.
Yeah.
He is not coming back. He doesn't spell out what happened, but he's just like, trust me, he's not coming back. So after all of this, he goes back to her cabin, and that's that whole letter. There's that second letter, just like for his wife. This is to Julio, which she doesn't know that Julio's gone, but now she's free, and all he does is he takes the dog. He takes Dietrich's dog, and that's I guess his reward is a new companion.
Okay, is there a little part of you? So the very end, he's back in his taxidermy lab. What do you call him? Office, shop. And there's a slow kind of pan across the surfaces and across all the animals, and then it goes down to the dog's face, and the dog's looking up. Is there a little part of you that thought, even for a second, oh God, did he taxidermy that dog? Because it's on that dog for a long time before the dog blinks.
Yeah,
The dog
that's
just
funny.
doesn't move.
I didn't think that, but that's really funny that it's dark that you went there.
This is what I've been trying to tell you for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
This movie is great, and it did things to me, man.
Yeah, right. Holy cow. Well, here, speaking of dark places, we see so the dog who we know is kind of like the first time he meets the dog growls and is not friendly. After he's killed Dietrich, the dog smells Dietrich's smell on him and now is like his best friend and now always wants to be with him, follows him and everything like that. There's one point where he's standing out on his porch at night and like smoking a cigarette or something, and he hears and then sees the dog walk by, and the dog's face is covered in blood. Had the dog just been eating Dietrich? Is that where your mind went?
That's
okay, that's where
exactly
my
where it
mind
went. Oh my God. That was so like, come on, dog.
Yeah. That's
Dogs
where
gotta
my
eat,
brain
I
went too.
guess.
Yeah, I know,
Like
right?
nobody liked Dietrich. Nobody.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah. So brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the story of this movie. It is crazy subdued, and in that sort of quietness is brutality around every corner. This is the brutality of the woods.
It really is. And it is a world of brutality that somebody who deals with death every day as his job. His job is stuffing things that people have killed. Like he has, his life is filled with death, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But now he's in a place with the actual violent acts happening themselves and has to figure out how to deal with that. And I think that's a fascinating element of this story where he's kind of thrust into the realities of it. And I guess realizes it's not for him. He's not clearly going to pursue a career in bank heists.
I think that's more of gig work. It's kind of gig economy.
When the taxidermy work really slows down.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a career. It didn't feel as long as its 134 minutes to me. It felt
just over 2 hours. Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like it moved right along, even as kind of subdued as its pacing is. Boy, I didn't turn away, not a single bit.
Well, I say that's to do with the two main factors we've been talking about. The direction of Bielinsky, who weaves a fascinating, dark story in a quiet way, very subdued, as you've said, but so compelling. Like it's always compelling to see what's going to happen here, and it feels very different from Nine Queens.
Yeah.
And Ricardo Darín, like we are always with him. He is in every single scene of this film and he carries it. Like he brings so much to so much internal complexity to this character who's always thinking about these things and trying to analyze these situations. And just the way that he plays that, I think, is really fantastic. It's just excellent.
Andy, I can't believe I've held on to this quite so long. This movie actually has a single transition that is one of my favorite transitions in film.
Mm.
Do you know which one it is? It's
now that you say that,
it's just an edit.
I feel like I should remember it, but I don't.
I feel like you should too. I mean, do you want a second? Should I play some music? Right? No, you can no more than that. They're very litigious.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah, right.
It is the travel montage, the travel sequence where our buddies are. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Yeah.
There is a cut where these guys get on a plane and they're sitting together side by side in plane seats, and there is a dissolve into them sitting in exactly the same orientation in a Jeep driving down the road. And the scale is perfect. Everything is perfect about this transition. It's like they just phased there. And that was a thing that I haven't seen done quite so artfully as in this film. It was perfect.
Aren't there a few? Don't they go from like sitting at the airport to sitting on the plane to sitting in the Jeep to like, I feel like there's even one more.
Yeah.
That was excellent. It's like on par with what Edgar Wright does as we watch, Simon Pegg go from the city to the country in Hot Fuzz.
100%. That is also up there high on the same list. I was so surprised at the artfulness of this camera that in this movie, a movie that is so subdued and would just slap me in the face with just, again, straight up cleverness. Just great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of work to get that scale to work across those vehicles, like in the plane, in the Jeep, in the airport. Those are very different places and shooting situations. I thought that was incredible.
Yeah, they did a great job with that. I completely agree. So much with the camera and the editing, I think, also is great with this film. Anything else stand out?
I wanted to ask you. No, I wanted to ask you before we do that. What did you think about the days of the week?
In a story about a person who is as meticulous in kind of like the planning and everything, it made sense to have that breaking it down for us from going through the days of the week, as far as like we knew that the heist was going to be on Monday and all of these different elements coming to play. I thought it played. I thought it was actually pretty nice to have that. It seemed to work for me. And I think it's because, again, this point of view with Esteban that we're following.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought so too. And I felt like it was leaning us toward kind of an anthology of stories. Like each day is its own sort of isolated experience when put together. It makes a Wednesday to Wednesday week in this guy's life. But really, what happens if you take these little stories and watch them separately? What do you learn about a man by watching a single day and then watching 2 or 3 together? I found it just more of an interesting thought experiment than anything else. And he didn't have enough clothes with him to, figure out if he was wearing days of the week underpants. So I wasn't sure if the movie really needed to commit to that bit quite so hard, but it was clever.
Still,
it was clever.
I agree. It worked.
Yeah.
Anyway, our composer, Lucio Godoy, Spanish-Argentine composer, also composed the music for Intacto, a movie that we know and love.
Famously.
If you want to hear us chatting about Intacto, you can get the Blu-ray released from Umbrella, and they pulled a clip of our podcast and they featured it in a video essay, which is pretty cool.
We're a special feature.
We're a special feature.
We're a very special feature.
It is.
I think is what they call
I think there's the special features and then very special features.
We're
into the very special features menu.
That's what it is.
But he did the music for Intacto. He did The Sea Inside. He did The Others. And so, I mean, definitely a film, a composer that has done a lot of prominent films that are worth talking about. And I think the music here also fits the tone, kind of that vibe that we've been talking about so much.
Well, and it's kind of relentless too. Like there's very little of this film that isn't covered by some sort of score, to the point where they actually drop sound of the movie and just play the score in and out of sequences, particularly around the seizures. And so I think it's practically an opera, this movie. Like it's got a real sort of high art vibe to it that accompanies our experience with him. It's beautiful.
This could be an interesting opera, actually, Pete.
Yeah.
I could see that playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I think it's fantastic. Lot of great performances, really fascinating story that Bielinsky wrote and directed here. And I'm thrilled to get back to Ricardo Darín. It's been too long. We need to have more conversations about his films on the show.
We've definitely talked about more Ricardo Darín than Tom Hanks, just so it's out there. All of the evidence is stacking up against your fandom. So just so you know that.
That's not true. We've talked about more Tom Hanks still.
I don't believe it.
This is only our 4th Ricardo Darín film that we've discussed.
You think we've talked about 4 Tom Hanks films?
We've talked about like 6 or 7.
Okay.
So yes.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
And I'm not even counting the film board, because I know the film board's tackled like
the film board has tackled
quite a number of Tom
Yeah.
Hanks films.
That doesn't count though. You've abdicated responsibility for the film board. You don't get to count those. All right.
Yeah. I don't know. You have me curious now. See, this is what
we're
you do.
We're doing real-time research. That's where
I have to do real-time research. How many Tom Hanks movies have we discussed? How many that are actually part of like the Tom Hanks series? Let's just say. We did. I don't know. I'm going with 7. I'm looking right now. Tom Hanks archives. Let's see. How many are you guessing? This is our 4th one here.
Okay. The problem is, all right, I know we've done, what have we done? We've done Apollo 13 and A League of Their Own, There's No Crying in Baseball, and we've done Forrest Gump, and those are the ones I can remember. Oh, we did, the film board did The Circle, but we don't talk about The Circle. Board.
The others that we talked about are Splash,
yeah,
and Joe vs. the Volcano.
Yes, of course.
So we're 5. We're at 5.
And Big.
Oh, we did, but that technically wasn't part of Tom Hanks series. That was part of our not Penny Marshall. It was I'm forgetting. Seaweed. Him.
John Hurd.
John Hurd. It was our John Hurd series.
I think that counts as a Tom Hanks
I'm proud of you.
vehicle.
I'm proud of you for remembering that was John Hurd. This is my one line.
I know what is wrong with me that I got that.
Oh, totally John Hurd.
Definitely John Hurd.
Everybody knows, yeah.
Okay, all right. So maybe we've talked about more Tom Hanks than Ricardo Darín.
But it doesn't have to be that way, Pete. We can start cranking. We need to add to our Ricardo Darín series.
Yeah.
All right.
And maybe not watch that cockamamie submarine boat movie with Tom Hanks where he just wore slippers. I'm just saying, they're not all nuggets of gold.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that pretty much covers it. Great film. I'm glad to have added it to the list. So I'm glad you picked it.
Me too. Ahoy.
Well, we'll be right back. But first, our credits.
The Next Reel is a production of True Story FM, engineering by Andy Nelson, music by Anthony Vega, score maestro, Rotem Cinnamon, Oriel Novella, and Eli Catlin. Andy usually finds all the stats for the awards and numbers at the-numbers.com, boxofficemojo.com, imdb.com, and wikipedia.org. Find the show at truestory.fm, and if your podcast app allows ratings and reviews, please consider doing that for our show. Okay. You know what's wild? I'm frozen in this eternal pose, glass eyes staring at nothing. And I've got all the time in the world to think. And you know what I think about? Movies. Specifically, I think about how you need to be logging all of your films on Letterboxd. Look, I get it. You watch a movie. You move on with your life. But here's the thing. I can't move on with anything. I'm mounted on a wall, and even I know the importance of keeping track of what you've watched. Letterboxd is the social network for film lovers. Rate movies, write reviews, create lists, follow friends. It's like Goodreads, but for cinemas, and infinitely cooler because you can track every single film that crosses your path. Trust me, when you're stuffed and posed for eternity, you appreciate good record keeping. I mean, you're listening to a podcast about El Aura right now, a film about a taxidermist, which, let me tell you, is a tough subject for me personally. But you care about cinema. You're thoughtful about it. So why aren't you documenting your film journey? Just head to letterboxd.com and create a free account. Just start logging films and discover what your friends are watching. Find your next favorite movie through the community's lists and reviews, and when you're ready to upgrade to Pro for features like advanced filtering, year-in-review statistics, and 0 ads, use the code NEXTREEL at checkout for 20% off. That's NEXTREEL, all one word. Works for new upgrades and renewals. So even if you're already a member, you can save. Unlike me, your life isn't frozen in time, so use it to track your cinematic journey.
All you needed to do was give it the Italian accent, you know, Pete. It couldn't. Why couldn't
Because
it?
I just did Italian, Andy. I don't want to give the people too much of a good thing.
You know, you're right. You gotta.
Besides, everybody knows it would have to be a Latin accent of some derivation.
Oh God! All right.
Okay. Okay, Andy. This one's got some noms.
Yes, it does. This film did well at the awards, at the Argentinian Film Critics Association Awards, or the they are called the Silver Condor Awards, which I like saying that even better. The Silver Condor Awards, it was really, really well received. This is essentially Argentina's, I was going to say Argentina, just like you, Argentina's Oscars. Ricardo Darín won Best Actor. It was nominated for Best Art Direction, but lost to Blessed by Fire, or Iluminados por el Fuego. It won for Best Cinematography, Best Direction. Mm-hmm. It lost Best Editing to Blessed by Fire. It won Best Film, which is the big one. It lost Best Music to Cautiva. It won Best Original Screenplay. It won Best Sound, and Cedrón. We didn't talk about which one is Cedrón? Now I have to look. I didn't write that down. Cedrón played Sosa, the villain, one of the two villains, the not older sick one. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor, but lost to Hugo Arana in Cautiva. And then at the Sundance Film Festival, this was when it was in its festival run, it was nominated in the World Cinema Awards for dramatic films, but lost to 13 Sameti, which sounds like an interesting one. A man takes over a dead man's task without realizing the horror it entails.
It sounds like exactly the same story.
I was going to say, interestingly, it sounds like this film. Oh, dude.
Wow.
Funny, dude.
All right.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Argentina coming with the same. How'd it do at the box office?
Well, for Bielinsky's final film, he had a budget of $2.8 million US dollars, or $4.5 million in today's dollars. The movie opened in Argentina September 15th, 2005, where it opened #1 at the box office and was the second highest opening weekend of the year there. And it held the #1 spot for its second weekend as well. Clearly, this had its fans. It then played in festivals around the world for the next few years, also opening in a few other markets. Here in the States, it played at Sundance and the Chicago International Film Festival in 2006, before having a limited release in New York City starting November 17th, 2006. It made about $58,000 here in the States and $1.7 million everywhere else, for a total gross of $2.8 million in today's dollars. That lands it with an adjusted loss per finished minute of $12,000. But honestly, based on how it was received in Argentina, this really makes me wonder if I'm saddled with incomplete data. that is has been my nemesis for this season, as you know, Pete.
Yeah.
So, well, who knows? But anyway, we can hope that it did end in the green at least.
Yeah, it had to have ended in
I hope
the green.
so. Yeah.
It had to. I mean, it's too good a movie. And all I can think about is what a bummer it is that it's hard to find.
Yeah.
It's not an easy film. It's not streaming anywhere. It's, we found it our ways and we're able to watch it.
When I first watched this, it was back when Netflix had their DVD rentals, and I got it through them. I'm sure you can rent it through like Scarecrow Video or one of the other places that have like DVD rentals and stuff like that. So I'm sure you can still find it out there.
It's just not one that you can just turn on a service and go, and that's a bummer.
Yeah, it really
should be seen by more people. It's a really good movie.
Hopefully, some people will pick it up. Who knows? Maybe Umbrella will pick it up, and we'll end up on the special features for that one as well.
We should tell them. Send a note.
Yeah. Hey, do this movie just so you could use us.
Just for us.
Well, I think it's a fantastic movie. I really enjoyed it both times I've seen it, and it's really compelling, beautifully constructed, and really creative. So I'm glad that you picked it for our season this year.
Me too. Thanks for making me pick it, Andy.
All right. Well, that's it for today's conversation. Next week, we will be kicking off our Platinum Performances, the 1950 Best Actress Oscar Race series. We've already discussed all about Eve back in our Bette Davis series, which had 2 nominations in this category for Davis and Anne Baxter. Now we're going to be looking at the other 3 performances nominated, starting with Judy Holliday in George Cukor's Born Yesterday. We'll be right back for our ratings. Oh, that's me.
You're gonna do it.
I was just waiting for you, apparently. Okay, hold on. Okay, here we go. I know what you are. I've seen it in your eyes. The way you watch people, the way you remember every detail. Eidetic memory, right? Don't worry, your secret's safe with me. In fact, I've got a little secret of my own. A way for you to use that gift of yours for something more than just party tricks and parlor games. I'm talking about the next reel. It's a podcast, but it's so much more than that. It's a way to delve into the minds of filmmakers, to understand the intricacies of their craft, and with your memory, you could be the ultimate film analyst. With a membership to the next reel, you will have access to a whole world of cinematic knowledge, early access to episodes, ad-free listening, exclusive bonus content. It's all there for the taking. And it's not just the next reel. CinemaScope, the Film Board, Movies We Like, Sitting in the Dark, they're all part of the same network, all feeding into that vast repository of film knowledge. Imagine being able to recall every detail of every film you've ever watched. Imagine being able to analyze and dissect a director's vision with perfect clarity. With your memory and the next reel's resources, you could become the ultimate film savant. So what do you say? Ready to put that memory of yours to good use? Head to truestory.fm/join and sign up. $5 a month or $55 a year. A small price to pay for the chance to unlock your true potential. Think about it, but don't wait too long. A mind like yours, it's a terrible thing to waste. The next reel, truestory.fm/join. Become who you were meant to be.
Da, 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 da. All right. Letterboxd. Andy. Oh, what are you going to even do? Letterboxd.com/thenextreel. That's where you can find all of our shows and all of the reviews that we've done. And it's really great. And you should totally go there and be friends with us. And this is where we're going to assign our hearts and stars. Is there a question? Is this a 3.5 stars with quibbles for you?
I'm going to give it 4.5. That's where I'm sitting. 4.5.
4.5. Why 4.5?
I'll be honest. It went up from 4 the last time that I watched it. The first time I watched it, I gave it 4. This time I'm giving it 4.5. I don't know. It's like there are 5-star films that I have out there, but in this one I think is just it's a 4.5, and I feel good about that. It's a film I really enjoy.
Okay. I think this is the first time I'm needing to articulate this, because for me, I'll just tell you, it's a 4 because I don't know, Pete, no half stars, right? And it's a 4, I think, because it's a movie that I can't enjoy to its very fullest. If I could watch this in, a proper resolution on the headset, on a big screen, I think it very well could be a 5-star film. But my watch of this movie, I think, did it no favors.
What do you recall the version? Like, was it at least like a 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio?
Yes.
Was it like a VHS? Okay, so was it like
DVD.
Blu-ray quality, DVD quality?
No.
Okay.
DVD quality.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we struggled last week when we talked about The Invincible 6.
Invincible 6. Is that one of the things that we struggle? Well, it's because it's in VistaVision.
Yeah, VistaVision.
That's true.
Like that's 235 to 1, and we had to watch it in a crappy VHS, 133 to 1 rip.
Yes, that's very true. This one, trying to take what I had to a big screen, was a pixelated mess. Like, I had to watch this in a window of a window, and it wasn't great. The movie carried me through. We did fine together, me and the movie. But I'm gonna stick with 4 for now, because I think the movie has more for me. But I'm definitely gonna watch it again.
Yeah, I got World Cinema, or Cinema of the World is the website that I went to. I'll just tell people. They have a lot of streaming movies, and I think my version was at least better than yours. Like, I could play it bigger without losing resolution.
Yeah.
So at least that played better. But I can totally see that. I can see that. Like, this is a film, like, it's a beautifully shot film. It deserves to have like a 4K restoration so that we can actually see all of the luster of that forest and everything.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that averages out to 4.25, which rounds up to 4.5 and a heart, which you can find on our account on Letterboxd at The Next Reel. You can find me on there at Soda Creek Film, and you can find Pete there at Pete Wright. So what did you think about The Aura? We would love to hear your thoughts. Hop into the Show Talk channel over in our Discord community, where we will be talking about the movie this week.
When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
Letterboxd giveth, Andrew.
As Letterboxd always doeth.
Can I do mine first?
Please.
It's a 5-star. It's a 5-star and a heart.
I love it.
From Christian Flores. Hitchcock's greatness lies in the fact that he not only made masterpieces, but also created a form, a mold, and a process for others to make their own. Bielinsky evidently studied that mold with taxidermist precision and applied it step by step to create Aura, his early and final masterpiece. And if that's so easy, why aren't they stealing from Hitchcock all the time? They are stealing from him, but badly, because they're all stupid. I don't know. That strikes me as so funny. It's like a Jack Handy of reviews for this movie. Like, it starts so rich and ends so pointedly. What do you got?
To be fair, a lot of these are in Spanish, and we're doing Google Translate, so it might have lost some of the flowery language.
It might have lost the romance. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I also went with a 5-star and a heart by Crowley, who has this to say: "Que semana, amigo! What a week, my friend." Yeah, exactly.
I didn't even try to read mine because you speak Spanish. That last line: "Le están robando, pero mal. Porque son todos estúpidos." That's I mean, that translates, right?
That's totally, yeah.
Gracias, Letterboxd.